see you might be able to see down there. Get that out of the way first. And those others that would like to come and move around as you please. There's a seat over there if you like.
I prefer the hard ones because of my back.
Oh, move the seat over there. There's a hard seat over there.
Yes, that's fine.
There's a hard seat over there too. You want a hard seat?
I see from better from back here too. But when I get close, I get blurred.
I don't want that to happen. To our guests that come to visit with us. I've been affiliated with this school since 1958 as a member of the school. My dad met the founder in 1944, 44 I think it was. But that was during the time this chart was being drawn. And this is a copy of the original 40-foot chart that's out there in LA. There's a few other copies made of this chart. And there's a seat up here. We like to have a seat over here. See the chart bearer over this way. Come. We also I try to make some room back there behind the second bird to the railroad and push where the people walk through to get to the restroom. Hopefully it'll be somewhere easy to get that way. We might have to move the chairs a little further to accommodate that. My father supported Dr. Kennedy during the time that he met him in 1944. And he gave him money to buy the paint he needed to make this here chart and stuff like this here. I try to bring it up to let you know the history of this chart somewhat. Now this chart was drawn as a second chart after the first chart was made. The first chart is behind the wall right there, which is what you call the elementary chart. The next chart was this year Moses chart was the next chart that was made. If you notice on it talks about it being a series number 1 chart. This is called to be a series number 2 chart. So this chart here came off this chart here, just so get somebody to reference this to the development of the chart. Now, there's a lot of information on these charts, and I'm going to try to be thorough when I go through these charts, because so everybody have a kind of a clear picture of what this chart portrays, and hopefully at the time of visit, others will have a chance to expound on the chart as they see fit too. If you notice the caption on the chart is the divine pattern of the universe, proving the existence of God, or should be Elohim, and manifesting his purpose by the physical creation through the dispensations and ages. Now that covers a lot of ground. It covers a number of scriptures at the same time. But you see, the essence of this is to prove the existence of Yahweh. I want to make this note, make this plain. Yahweh did not leave it up to man to prove his existence. He proved his own existence by making the creation the way he made it, and the way he revealed himself to mankind through the scriptures. So when you go into the scriptures, you're reading the revealed word of Yahweh to mankind. So that's why it becomes a basis for this school that we have. I mean, this is a school, it's not a church, and you do come down here to learn something about your heavenly creator that you did not know before. Now, bear with me too, I'm also on kind of cold the past 2 days. I deal with that too. Okay, now, a little bit about the layout of this chart. You have, this first page here is the tabernacle pattern. And you'll find another copy of this here tabernacle pattern down here, dealing with this right here, page 25. Now, Dr. King put it in 2 different places to try to cut down the distance of walking between one point and another point. Consider this chart is 23 feet long, the 40-foot chart is 40 feet long. to get his idea that we don't have room big enough to even hold the original chart in here. So I guess we wrap it around the wall and all that kind of stuff. And I got a copy of it made, but I wanted to use it, you know, if that's when we have time to go over it. And it's nothing more than a more detailed breakdown of the other charts that you have in the room. If you would take your time, and I'm going to preface this also by a few things. Give me Job, 11th chapter. I'm going to try to set a premise for this here, what I'm going to try to deal with. Can somebody give me Job, 6th chapter in the 30th verse?
Job or Job?
Job. J-O-B.
Job.
Not Job.
It's Job.
It's Job, it's pronounced what we used to call job.
Job 11.
It's not a job. Huh?
Which one did you want first?
I have the first one, 11 and 1.
Job 11 and 1.
Mm-hmm.
Then answered Zophar the Neamatite and said.
Now this is Job. After he's been afflicted by Satan, afflicted his body with boils, and he's in very anguish and pain and all. And 3 friends came to visit him. This is one friend that's come to visit him, and this is what he was saying to him. Read.
Then answered Zophar the Neamatite and said, should not the multitude of words be answered?
Should not the multitude of words be answered? Read.
And should a man full of talk be justified?
Should a man full of talk be justified? Now think about these terms. A lot of times you hear a lot of people say a lot of things, but is it important? Is it good? Is it bad? You need to analyze that, what's being said. A man can say a lot of words, but how they are applied and how they are understood is another important thing. Read.
Should thy lies make men hold their peace?
Should thy lies make men hold their peace?
And when thou mockest, shall no man make thee ashamed?
Mm-hmm.
For thou hast said, my doctrine is pure.
Now, the man is saying, my doctrine is pure. In his own eyesight, he said his doctrine is pure.
And I am clean in thine eyes.
And I am clean in thy eyes. Read.
But oh, that a Lord would speak.
Now, if Allah or Yahweh were to speak,
and open his lips against thee.
And open his lips against thee,
and
what would he say? We're down here talking about your soul, folks. And his answer is going to be the one you're going to have to be judged by. So what would he say about you? Read.
But oh, that a Lord would speak and open his lips against thee, and that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom.
That he may show you the secrets of wisdom. And this is what has been presented to us through the founder of this school. Mm-hmm. The wisdom of Yahweh. Not mankind, the wisdom of Yahweh. Read.
And that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is known to us.
And they are double to that which is known to us. So if you take a man with the best amount of knowledge that he might have, the wisdom of Yahweh is far greater. So you double the man. Read.
That they are double to us, and that he would show thee the secrets of wisdom, that they are double to that which is known to us. Therefore, Allah exact of thee less than thine iniquity deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Canst thou by searching find out Allah?
Now, can you, by searching, find out Eloah or God? Read.
Canst thou find out the Almighty unto perfection?
Can you find out the Almighty to perfection?
It is as high as heaven.
Now he's going to give you some idea of the scope of this. As high as heaven.
What canst
Now
thou...
your man has not a probe out beyond the outskirts of outer space. He never will make it. So it's as high as the heavens. Read.
What can thou do?
What can thou do? Now you're trying to find out about Yahweh, about the Creator. What then can you do? Read.
Deeper than hell?
It's deeper than hell, so if you go to hell, it's still a big problem.
What
Read.
canst thou know?
What canst thou know?
The measure thereof is longer than the earth,
The measure thereof is longer than the earth,
and broader than the sea.
and broader than the sea.
If he cut off and shut up,
If he were to cut off and shut up
or gather together,
or gather together,
then who can hinder him?
who can hinder you? Now, Bill, I'm trying to give you an idea of the scope of Yahweh. And what you're down here for is to understand some part of him. I'm saying you're going to learn it all. And I want you to also understand all the way. I do not claim to know it all. I don't want nobody even to think that I do. But Yahweh's been mercy enough to us so that we might be able to understand a little bit of his mercy and kindness. Now, could you give me Job 6 and 30?
Is there 30?
Mm-hmm.
Is there iniquity in my tongue?
Is there iniquity in my tongue?
Cannot my taste discern perverse things?
Now he's talking about your tongue, so you be able to discern perverse things. Now, what you hear from mankind, you got to be able to discern between truth and a lie. And that's what's so rewarding with this class, is that Yahweh has given us sufficient tools to be able to discern truth from a lie, or truth from error. Now, in your scripture lesson that was read, there's many things in there that you love to go into. Give me 51. Then I want to let's talk about something real quick. I think it's
Mark 10 and 51. And Joshua answered and said unto 50. And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to
Now, he's
Joshua.
talking to a blind man. He cried out. Now, I want you to understand, this is something I want you to think about. Maybe go over the verse, get him when you talk to him, when they start crying out for him.
10 and 46. And they came to Jericho.
They came to Jericho. Now, note now, the Messiah, oh, there's so many things. The Messiah is on a mission to fulfill the writings of Moses and the prophets. Now, that's covering 4,000 years. So that means he's moving quite a bit down to this as he moves things. And as he says things, he's covering a multitude of things. See? Now, Jericho was a place where Israel went through after going through the river Jordan, came into the city of Jericho. Now, here's the Messiah visiting them. Read.
And they came to Jericho. And as he went out of Jericho with his disciples,
Now, he departed from Jericho with his disciples.
and a great number of people, blind Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, sat by the highway side begging. And when
Okay, now we have a blind man. He's begging. And he heard, well, read on, I've been ahead of it.
And when he heard that it was Joshua of Nazareth,
When he heard it was Joshua of Nazareth,
he began to cry out
he began to cry out,
and say, Joshua, son of David,
Joshua, son of David,
have mercy on me.
have mercy upon me. So he's crying out to Joshua, the son of David. Cried out to me, read.
And many charged him that he should hold his peace.
Now they were saying, they were telling him, no, don't cry, don't bother him, he's busy. Just don't bother him. See? Read.
But he cried all the more.
He cried all the more. Now what's happening? His faith is greater than his opposition. The people that are trying to call him not to say what he wanted to say. But he cried out even louder. Read.
Son of David, have mercy on me.
Son of David, talking about Joshua, have mercy on me. Read.
And Joshua stood still
Now it says Joshua stood still.
and
You
commanded
all recall when the people was in plight, discovered when they were seeing the Red Sea and the Egyptians. Yahweh told them one thing: stand still. So Joshua stood still. Read.
And Joshua stood still and commanded him to be called.
Then he commanded him to be called.
And they called the blind man, saying unto him, Be of good comfort,
Be of good comfort.
rise, he calleth thee.
He calleth thee. Read.
And he, casting away his garment, rose and came to
The
Joshua.
blind man cast away his garments and came to Joshua. Read.
And Joshua answered and said unto him,
Mhm.
What wilt thou that I should do unto thee?
What will thou that I should do unto thee? That's a great way because Stephen asked. You come and ask me, what can I do for you? See? Now, if you ask me for $1 million, I don't have it. If you ask me for getting well, I don't have the people doing that either. So, asking me is going to be a limit to what I can do for you. Maybe I give you $10, something like that. For $1 million, that's about it. And nowadays you don't have much, you can't do much with $10 now. But anyhow, the point is that he's asking, and Joshua has given him 4 scope. What would you want me to do for you? Read.
The blind man said unto him, Sire, that I might receive my sight.
That I might receive my sight.
And Joshua
Now,
said unto
if
him,
you think about it, that was all our cases.
Right.
We were blind. Dark, deep darkness. That's in the understanding of the mystery of Yahweh. Now, maybe you might have some understanding about the profession you're in, but not about knowing about Yahweh. Read.
And Joshua said unto him, Go thy way,
Go that way.
thy faith hath made thee whole.
Now, what delivered him? His faith has delivered him. The faith is what caused him to have seen, be able to see it. So now you're coming down here to acquire your faith in Yahshua Messiah through the teachings that Dr. Kenny brought to us. This is not my work, this is the founder. Norman is one vessel that heard him, listened to him talk, he taught me, and I stand before he delivered to you what he gave me. Now, one other point I want to point out before I get on this chart, I want to point out one other thing. In that same chapter, it talks about the children. I think it's around 36 or somewhere around that area. The children coming to him, right? I'm just pointing out a few things. There's a lot of things in this chapter I've read, but I just don't have the time to do it. I didn't remember as the very first.
No, 14.
Mark 10 and 14.
Mhm.
But 13. And they brought young children to him,
And they brought young children unto him. Read.
that he should touch them.
Now they bring the children to him that Joshua might touch them.
And his disciples rebuked those that brought them.
Now the ones that been following him around, they were rebuking him. They don't do that. Don't bother. Read.
But when Joshua saw it, he was
But now
much
when
displeased.
Joshua saw it, his disciples keeping the kids from coming to him, read,
He was much displeased,
he was much displeased,
and said unto them,
and said unto them,
Let the little children come unto me,
allow the children to come unto me,
and forbid them not,
and forbid them not,
for of such is the kingdom of Yahweh.
for such is the kingdom of Yahweh. Do you not recall that when Yahweh brought Israel out of the land of Egypt, that he referred to them as the children of Israel? We all become children in his eyesight. No child is greater than the other child. We all had the same, been in the same boat. Oh, we went through different types of things in our life and that type of thing, yes. But the bottom line is, first we didn't know, and if Yahweh allow you to open your eyes that you might see, then he's out to heal you. He's here to heal you. Read a bit more, then I'll be prepared to go on.
15. Verily I say unto you,
Mhm.
whosoever shall not receive the kingdom of Yahweh as a little child,
Whosoever will not receive the kingdom of Yahweh as a little child,
he shall not enter therein.
he shall not enter therein. Now, a child is innocent. So you got to come innocent. In other words, if you're condemned in your conscience, you're not a child of his.
Right.
And the Messiah came in to deliver you from condemnation. So you see how great it is to be delivered from condemnation. See, well, that's what the man brought down upon mankind by his disobedience. Okay, a little bit more.
And he put them up in his
He
arms,
picked him up in his arms.
put his hands upon them, and blessed them.
Mm-hmm.
And when he was gone forth into the way,
Now, when Joshua left and went forth in the way, read.
there came one running, and knelt to him, and asked
Okay,
him,
that's another deal with the rich man and all. It goes on and on. It's a good story, but I don't have time to go through it. Now, in trying to convey this, to illustrate this chart, I'm going to try to cover it. And I realized now I've done this chart about 4 or 5 times, about 3 or 4 times. And generally it's been done by these 2 people. One did the first half, somebody did the second half. And I think I've given this lecture here once or twice here in Albuquerque. I gave him a slide because more people can see it in the picture much bigger. But I've had in my mind to go over this chart again. And I want to be of somewhat more detail about it. So maybe we might not cover as much as I would like to cover, or as much as you would like me to cover per se. But you know, if Yahweh permits, we have another day to come and we get some more. Okay? Now this chart starts off with this tabernacle pattern. Now there's been another chart made since this chart was made. And they rearranged the plates. Made this first, this second, and this third. But Dr. King, in having this chart made, remember he says proving the existence of Yahweh, or Elohim, by this here pattern. Now, so the pattern becomes the whole scheme of things. Now, we're going to go back a little bit further and we'll be able to move on. On this Moses chart, you have where Moses come about land of Egypt in the wilderness, and Yahweh calls him atop Mount Sinai, and gives him a divine vision and revelation. And while he's up in this mount, Yahweh reveals to Moses, or appears to Moses in a super-incorporeal form, in the shape and form of a man, but not physical, spiritually. And then Moses went into this cloud, and in this cloud is where he's having a vision of how Yahweh created the heaven and earth. And then he was also given instructions while he's up in the mountain about building a tabernacle. And this tabernacle was called a pattern. Let me have Exodus 25, 8 and 9.
Exodus 25, 8 and 9. And let them make me a sanctuary.
Listen, let them, referring to Israel, make me a sanctuary.
That I may dwell among them.
That I may dwell among them.
According to all that I show thee.
According to all that he shows him up in the mountain.
After the pattern of the tabernacle.
After the pattern of the tabernacle. So the tabernacle becomes a pattern. It's something that's used to make something else from, or to use as a guide over and over and over again. Read.
After the pattern of the tabernacle and the pattern of all the instruments thereof, even so shall you make it.
Even so shall you make it. So even the vessels were also inspired by Yahweh. In other words, a man didn't get up and say, well, I can make a candlestick. I can make it this way and all this kind of. He told him how to make it. Same thing with all other vessels. So the man didn't get to put his 2 cents in it, which is good. Because if you asked him, you know how we are. See, all of you probably had a question in mind if Yahweh had made me this way. Or if he had done this for me. You know, if I'd been born in a family that was wealthy, all this kind of thing. We would all have a scenario we like to have changed. See, but thanks be to Yahweh, it's not that way. Yahweh's purpose goes on. Okay, now, so he's given this pattern. Now the pattern consists of, this is your tabernacle pattern consists of. You have 14 chapters in the book of Exodus that explains this in the chart. The first 7 is dealing with what Moses saw on the top of Mount Sinai, and the next 7 is dealing with the process of building the tabernacle with the children of Israel. So now we find in this here tabernacle in the most holy place, you have an Ark of the Covenant, which is overlaid with gold both inside and out. It has a mercy seat and 2 archangels. Then you also in the most holy place, this here Ark of the Covenant sit in the midst of the room, and you got angels on the veil going all the way around and all top of the ceilings of the room, denoting heaven or denoting spirit of heaven. Now you're coming through that veil into what is called the holy place. You find your three vessels in it: the altar of incense, the golden candlestick, and the golden table shewbread. They were in there, and the high priest had to minister with them. We'll deal with it later on. And you come on through the veil coming out of the holy place, going into the court round about. Now this court went all the way around the holy place, of what is called the sanctuary, the holy place and the holy place. And in the court round about, you had a brazen altar of sin sacrifice. You also had a brazen laver for washing. And then you had a holy anointing over the high priest to be anointed with. Now, this is a brief description of the tabernacle pattern. The court that went round about was white, or linen, that went around the court round about. You had a 30-foot gate. Leaving that going to the altar, then the laver behind it, behind that would be the door going into the sanctuary. The door in the sanctuary is only 3 feet wide, 3 feet wide. So you see that as you walked in and went further in, you would go in, the way into Yahweh got narrower and narrower and narrower to reduce down in size. Now that's a brief description of the tabernacle, but we will discuss it more as we go down. Now, here in this figure is theophany, the wisdom of Yahweh to mankind. Dr. Kennedy is describing it, trying to convey to our minds some very, very essence wisdom of Yahweh. This is noted, this is will be likened unto what you have on this chart as the cloud, without any descriptive shape and form. Contained in that substance is what we call divine intelligence, wisdom, and knowledge, beauty, love, justice, foundation, power, and strength. These are 9 primary attributes of Yahweh. Now they're in this cloud, and if you notice in the cloud, you see they all not arranged in any kind of order, showing that it's without shape and without form. Now that's the state that he exists in as pure spirit. Now I said as pure spirit. John, first we have 1 John 1, 1 John 3, probably, and 1 down to it. I'm trying to give scripture for what I'm talking about as well, as we go down through this too.
1 John 3 and 1. Behold, what manner of love the Father hath bestowed upon us.
Now, John is talking about what manner of love Yahweh has bestowed upon us. Now, he's talking about, it's actually from all the way from this creation all the way down, he's just conveyed love to mankind. But we didn't become affected by it until after the death, burial, and resurrection of God's Messiah. So John is saying after the death, burial, and resurrection of Messiah, said, what manner of love is this that the Father has bestowed upon us? Read.
That we should be called the sons of Yahweh.
That we should be called the sons of Yahweh.
Therefore the world
or the children of Yahweh. See our relationship with Yahweh? Read.
Therefore the world knoweth us not.
Therefore the world knows us not. So that means once you become the son of Yahweh, you should not be expecting the world to embrace you. Right. Because the things you have learned to know set you apart and makes you an oddball.
A what?
An oddball. Peculiar person. Okay? Okay, read on.
Because it knew him not.
Because the world, they didn't know him. When the Messiah walked around, see, with all the things he put in this law and the prophet that testified of him, they did not find, when he walked around, they didn't take the book and say, oh, he's doing that, he's fulfilling that, he did it. They didn't see that. They missed it. While the scripture also said they would not know the time of his visitation. So they wouldn't know it. Okay, read on.
Beloved, now are we the sons of Yahweh.
Beloved, now are we the sons of Yahweh, read.
And it does not yet appear what
It
we
does
shall
not yet appear what we should be,
but we know that
but we know that
when he shall appear,
when he shall appear,
we shall be like him,
then we shall be like him.
for we shall see
Now that
him.
means we are not like him now. But when he does appear, then we shall be like him. Read.
For we shall see him as he is.
For we shall see him as he is.
And every man that hath this hope in him
Now it says that every man that has hope, we're talking about you having a hope in him now.
Right.
For every man that has this hope in him, read,
purifieth himself,
he purifies himself. He's cleansing himself, read.
even as he is pure.
Because he is pure.
Right.
Why are you saying that? I'm trying to show you that Yahweh in this state back here is pure. Pure spirit.
Right.
And by being pure spirit, that means it's uncontaminated. There's no corruption to be found in it. So now here it is in this state. Now this here, we've got, if you look at the chart, look at it closer, you'll find that we've got these attributes in hearts. We've got the hearts in a bigger heart. And around it we got a red which denotes the kingdom. I'm trying to explain to everybody can see the picture. We have the kingdom. Well, what does that all mean? See? That means that within this, now I'm talking about back here in pure spirit now, what we call the cloud, back in pure spirit, Yahweh has a purpose within himself which involves you and me. They are back here as subjects to the king, which is Yahweh. Joshua is the king. Joshua is the king. Yahweh is the king. So we being many make up the body of Yahweh. We make up the kingdom of Yahweh. And as such, see, when the religious world, they got off all messed up when the Messiah said, I'm going to go away, prepare a place for you, that where I am, you may be also. They think he jumped aboard a cloud and he just disappeared and went up. He's somewhere up in the sky. He's up there making a building for you and I to go to. A mansion. Okay? I wouldn't want that job. To make a mansion is going to cause all these people are going to be saved. But now he says something that they completely forgot about. Matthew 25:34.
Matthew 25 and 34.
Then shall the king say unto them on his right hand.
Then shall the king. Now I'm referring to these divine attributes making up the body of Joshua Messiah or the king. Then shall the king say unto them, right?
Come ye, blessed of my Father.
Come ye, blessed of my Father.
Inherit the kingdom prepared for you.
He said, I inherit the kingdom. See? Inherit the kingdom prepared of my Father. Read.
From the foundation of the world.
From the foundation of the world. So the kingdom was already prepared. So he didn't go to prepare a kingdom. The kingdom was already prepared. See? Now you got a whole religion out there teaching. See? About the kingdom going to come on earth planet. They got kingdom halls running all over the place. He's not coming to those kingdoms. He's not coming to those buildings. See, the Apostle Paul says, he doeth not in temples made by man's hand. So you can see right away, he's not going to be there. But we're talking about a kingdom that was established before the foundation of the world. Now in that, I just want you to just mentally take in your mind, here we're talking about a creator that thought about you way back then. I thought about over 6,000 years ago. He thought about you. So I want you to understand, you are important. If he thought about you back then, and has concern about you, that he's going to send his own son to deliver you from death and life. Okay, now, in this state back here, pure spirit we're talking about, without any descriptive shape and form, no shape and form at all there. He purposed this purpose within himself. Now, what is the purpose of Yahweh? What did he declare within himself back here that all this whole thing is being played out based upon what he declared back here. See? Let me have Ephesians 1 and 9 and 10. Probably going to take it all the way to 13. And then I want Isaiah 46, 9 and 10.
What do you want first?
I want Ephesians first.
Ephesians 1 and 9.
Mm-hmm.
Having made known unto us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure.
According to his, now I want to understand what's being said here. So I want you to bear in mind, I'm trying to be conscious of, we got young, new students in the class, we got people that have been in the class that long, and I want to convey what we're talking about. I don't want to just run through the thing and everybody be, what is he talking about? And I want you also to have in mind, if you want to ask a question. I'm not above questions. But I want to try to make this thing so you can understand what's being said and who's saying it, so it'll be beneficial to you and me. Okay? Now, here we have the Apostle Paul. Now, the Apostle Paul was not a disciple of Yahshua Messiah. He came in about 3 to 4 years after the Messiah's death, burial, and resurrection. And he's saying here, having made known unto us. So something's been revealed to them. The apostles. See? What was made known? Read.
Having made known unto us the mystery of his will.
Now we're talking about the mystery of his will. A mystery. See? I'm talking about a mystery. And think about this, folks. Your religious leaders do not even know he has a purpose.
Right.
Not only to be able to tell you about it, explain about it. They don't even know it. They're going on here, hocus pocus going on trying to tell you to do something for salvation. They don't even know what the purpose is. And they still have not even understood what the Messiah's mission was.
That's true.
So because you see them, you're in dire straits of looking and knowing something about your Heavenly Father. So it would be the mercy of Yahweh. If Yahweh had not come and shown the founder of this school, we would be out there, they would tell what we'd be doing. But the mercy of Yahweh, the mercy of Yahweh has allowed us to be able to step out of that world and allow us to see something profound. And this is what we're talking about now, okay? Read on now. This is what I'm talking about. What he declared back here. So I'm talking about in this state where there's no shape and form. He's purpose and his purpose. Now we're going to find out what that purpose is. We also want to understand that that purpose has anything to do with you and me. Okay, read.
Having made known unto us the mystery of his will.
Mm-hmm. Now that means that the Apostle Paul, the mystery of Yahweh's will was made known to him and the disciples. Okay, read.
According to his good pleasure.
It was according to his good pleasure.
Which he hath purposed in himself.
Which he had purposed in himself. Now remember, I'm trying to show this chart was made first. We got him back here, Yahweh over back here with his arms closed. All the mysteries locked up in him. He hadn't made it known.
Right.
Kept it within himself. And at a dispensation, at a point of time, he revealed it, made it known, or opened it up. See, and the Apostle Paul is now saying, now it's made known unto us. You know what? Let's purify that thing. See? Go give me 1 Peter 1:9, 1:10. I want this to tie together. It's slow, but it will be beneficial.
1 Peter 1:10, of which salvation the prophets have inquired and searched diligently.
Now he's talking about a salvation that's been imposed upon mankind. Some man's being delivered from something. Of which salvation
The prophets have inquired.
the prophets, the ones that wrote, Moses and the prophets, they were the ones that they're writing about a salvation that they did not receive at the time. They look forward to that salvation. But read.
And searched diligently.
And they searched diligently. See, here you got a prophet talking about behold, a virgin shall conceive and bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Emmanuel. But he did not understand it.
Right.
He said it, but he didn't understand it. Read.
Who prophesied of the grace that should come unto you.
He's prophesied of the grace that should come unto us. Read.
Searching what?
Searching of what?
Or what manner of time the Spirit of the Messiah which was in them did signify.
Now we're talking about Joshua, Spirit being in them, causing them to write what they wrote, but they didn't understand it. They didn't know about it. It was hid from it. This is about a great mystery, folks. Here's Yahweh revealing to a man what his purpose is, what his mystery is, and they don't understand it. There's a time to make it known. That's how come we cannot tell you down here, you should know how much, you should know as much as I know. That's no way. What we're trying to show you is the mercy of Yahweh. He will allow you to see what he will cause. He himself will reveal himself to you based on what you need to know. See? We want to be delivered, yes, from darkness into light. But you got to have an ear to hear and an eye to see. Now, I'm not talking about these eyes. I've talked to blind people. I've talked to school of blind people. It's a little harder, but you got to paint a picture first. So they have it in their mind, and then go ahead and talk about things. But the point is, it can't be done. See? But watch, I read on.
Searching what or what manner of time the Spirit of the Messiah which was in them did signify.
What is the Spirit? What's causing me to say these things? He didn't understand what it meant. See? But he's looking to the Messiah to come. And remember, he died, went to the grave, still desired. You know what this mission is about. See, read.
When it testified beforehand
When it testified beforehand
the sufferings of the Messiah
the sufferings of the Messiah
and the glory that should follow,
and the glory that should follow.
unto whom it was revealed
Unto whom it was revealed,
that not unto themselves,
not unto
but
themselves,
unto us they did minister the things which are now reported unto
but
you.
unto us the things which have been reported in us. So now I'm reporting. See? Not like John Kerry. Reporting for duty. But I'm reporting. That's what thus say Yahweh. See? So now here we are. See? Here's what Yahweh is doing now. He's setting this thing up. Okay? Now this is what his purpose with himself. See? Now he didn't make it known. Then back then they didn't know about it. But now we're going over to Paul, where it was made known, so we can find out what his purpose was. Now I'll read back over to Ephesians now.
Ephesians 1:9, having made known unto us the mystery of his will, according to his good pleasure, which he hath purposed in himself.
Now give you an idea. We're talking about back here, this is Yahweh's turn. We got to go under all these here places. Get all the way down to where it was made known to them. See? Oh, we got it. Every piece we got to go down and get to that. He had it all hid until the made known to them over here. See? Now, can you see now we're blessed? Right. We have any kind of understanding of Yahweh's purpose of man. See? Read.
That in the dispensation of the fullness of times he might gather together in one
But he might gather together in one.
all things in the Messiah.
This is what his purpose back here. He's going to gather all things in the Messiah. See?
Both which are in heaven
Which are in heaven
and which are on earth,
and which are on earth,
even in him.
even in him. Now that kind of includes you. See? That kind of includes the angelic realm.
Right.
See, both are being gathered together in him. That's what his purpose back here. Now what happens then after he's purposed this, now you're going to have to execute it or carry it out. See? Now that I describe what his purpose is, let me go ahead and say this too. I want to include the whole thing too. See, that was what he purposed, together everything in him, both which are in heaven and both which is in earth. Okay? 1 Corinthians 15:27. Let me go to Isaiah. I want to get the whole purpose before you so you have the whole picture in your mind.
1 Corinthians 15:27. For he hath put all things under his feet.
Now he has put all things under his feet.
But when he saith, all things are put under him.
When he said, now this is, Paul said, when he put all things under him, see? When he put all things under him, read.
It is manifest
It
that
is
he is
manifest
excluded,
that he is excluded,
which did put all things
which did
under
put
him.
all things under him.
But when all things shall be subdued unto him,
But now when all things shall be subdued unto him, I'm talking about Yahshua's sign. The angelic and the physical are subdued, or they have come together unto him. Apostle Paul said he's reconciling, see, mankind unto him. He's reconciling. He's begging them to come back unto him. Now when everything has been done according to his purpose now, read, what you going to do?
then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him.
Then the Son, and the angelic and the mankind have been gathered unto him, then the Son, he'll be what?
Be subject unto him that put all things under him.
Then he goes to bring himself back unto the Father. Right. So it means we came out from the Father going back to the Father. All the Father all down. See? Now, we go down to the thing is now we're going to demonstrate. That's his purpose. Carry it out. Now I have one other scripture to read, we will be able to start, and that's in Isaiah 46, 9 and 10.
Isaiah 46 and 9. Remember the former things of old,
Israel, remember the former things of old.
for I am El,
For I
and
am
there is none
El.
else. And there is none
Look,
else.
folks, I want you to understand this here. He is not skeptical about that.
Right.
He said, I am El, and I'm not sure about it.
No.
There might be another God like you
No,
do tonight.
there
I'm not
is
sure about
none.
that. No, he said, I am El, and what? There's none else. So all your concept of being of God goes out the window. This we're talking about is a genuine, real thing. See, read.
I am Elohim, and there is none like me,
I am Elohim, and there is none like me.
declaring the end from the beginning.
What makes you different from all of the gods? I'm declaring the end from the beginning. Everything's coming out by me, coming out from me, it's going to come back. I may be all, spoke to fish up there.
And from ancient times the things that are not yet done,
Mhm.
saying, my counsel shall stand,
Saying, my counsel shall stand,
and I will do all my pleasure.
and I will do all my pleasure. See, so now what we're doing now, we're getting ready to go down and show you what he declared based upon his purpose now. We laid you the purpose, we laid you the pattern, now we're going to see how it operates down to the age of dispensation. See? Now Yahweh in this pure spirit state, after has purpose is purpose, see, he's not getting ready to execute or to carry it out. See? He's getting ready to execute or carry that out. See? Dr. Shep or Charles, can we turn the air on? Everybody's expanding themselves and the heat and all that. I'm warm, I know I'm going to be warm, so I ain't going to be much worried about that. See, but this may be cool down a bit. Maybe cool. Okay. This is a formal class, but it's informal presentation. Okay. Now, in a few minutes you'll all be cold. This kind of monitor, when you see them start being chilled, start putting coats on them, change. So you don't realize it. All these people here breathe. And by that alone, it's going to generate heat. See? So you have to be confident in this type of work with it. I don't want to get too warm. Get too warm to go to sleep on me. I can't keep waiting to go to sleep on me. Hopefully, we're going to try to do it by what we say here. Okay, now here we are. Now, y'all, we're back here. I got any switch up? Okay. Now, here, after he's in purpose with himself, see, then what he's going to do now, he's going to carry out, he's going to execute it now. So the first thing he does is that within himself, knowing he's going to make a creation, and knowing he desires for them to know him, then he takes on his shape and he takes on a form. Now when he takes on this shape and form, that's going to describe, or that's going to set the perimeters of righteousness. that state there was what we call the Son of Yahweh, or we call Yahshua the Messiah. This is Yahshua. See? Now, I heard my niece tell me about her son making a statement about the charts. I thought it was pretty profound, but it could be in his eyesight that way, if I remember the statement correctly. You talk about the little Kevin here. Evan. Evan. They were talking about Yahweh, and he made a statement about Yahweh's on the charts. Well, we want you to see, we want to get Yahweh off the charts, and in your heart and mind. So we might see this picture here of the Elohim on this chart here is much smaller than this one here. See? But I know what you get in your mind that he's some little small, painted drawing man on the chart, that type of thing. See? We're talking about a great anthropomorphic being. When he made the first man, he was not a small, medium man. He was a giant. Okay? So this right obeys some of you. But now by you seeing this form, see, this is divine attributes now in a descriptive shape and form that was revealed to mankind, that he communicated to mankind through what you and I call the scriptures, the law and the prophets. This is where he appeared to them first in that form and told them what to say and do. Then all he do is carry it. Then all he do is now be carried out. So now we got all this shape and form now. Now then you see now the subjects make up the king. He's the king, we are the subjects. And now you see that we make up the king. So now we got inscrutable, incomprehensible. We're talking about Yahweh. You're coming down through that state of where you cannot see him into visibility or unseen. You're coming through that veil, coming into visibility. This is what they saw in visions and Revelation. See? And that's what you described. Seen only in visions and Revelation. See? So now we got these divine attributes moving from what we might say chaotic state into a shape and form. See? Intelligence flanked by wisdom and knowledge. The ability to apply. Intelligence is the ability to apply wisdom and knowledge. Then you got beauty, love, and justice. Now think about it. You can see love or you can see justice, but when you see it being carried out in its most simplistic form, it reveals beauty. All those things is nothing you can go out and say, go give me a pound of beauty. We've all been in the shop today. See? So you can't go by it. You can't go by love. It's something that's within. And we're talking about now the love of Yahweh to mankind. Okay? So we see that. See? Then you come down and say, beauty, love, and justice. Then you come on down from that, you got a foundation, power, and strength. See? Now, Yahweh's foundation is broad, and it is very deep. We never see it. He portrays his power and his strength through that. See? Now that's divine attributes. Now that's the attributes in shape and form. Now they are all to us, in our minds, abstract. See? We got them illustrated here in the shape and form here. Now we go to this next place, cosmogony, the study of the beginnings of things, how things begin, how they started. So here we have cosmogony. See? Now we come from pure spirit, coming down into the material of the natural. See? The first thing, this here form here, now I want to also put this up. When Yahweh, the Father, took on this shape and form, that was all he created. He didn't create anything else. But once he got in this form, then he created first the angelic host. Now we describe this form as being super incorporeal. When he makes the angels, they are incorporeal, but not, because he's the first, they're discorporeal, incorporeal. So angels, ministry spirits. See? So he makes the angels. Now when he makes the angels in that angelic realm, he's the one that causes, or he's the one that's capable, I'll say that way, capable of saying that's right and that's wrong, that's good and that's bad. He's the creator of it. He's designating what's right and what's wrong. So when he makes the angels, he made good angels, he made bad angels. In that way. He was not making some angels say, oh, I need to make some more. Oh, I need to make these kind of angels. He didn't say that. See? Let me have a couple scriptures right here. Let me have, you read there in Genesis that he drove mankind out. There are angels there in the garden. The 3rd chapter of Genesis. And, you know what, if I'll be better to do this way, this is probably better to be more familiar with this. Get Luke 1 and about might be 11, but I wonder where the angel appeared to Zechariah.
Luke 1 and 11. And there appeared unto him, and the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense.
Now, we're talking about now at the time, the day of Zechariah, the high priest, was ministering inside the temple. The people outside the temple, they were praying, while he's burning incense at the altar of incense. Well, wouldn't you have it? You know it.
You got it.
Yeah, I know it's on the church over there. I know it's on the church. I'm trying to deal on the church in front of it. We have illustrated on the church, in the elementary chart, on the chart there. We have illustrated there of the high priest, and then you have an angel there. And now we can't see everything. It's hard to see everything. Anyhow, the point I'm trying to get is that here the high priest, Zechariah, is ministering at the altar of incense. And you read on what you got there. You read. Yeah.
Oh, me? Sorry. And the whole multitude of the people were praying without at the time of incense.
Mm-hmm.
And there appeared unto him an angel.
There appeared to him an angel
of Yahweh standing on the right side of the altar of incense.
Mm-hmm.
And when Zacharias saw, he was troubled, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said unto him, Fear not, Zachariah.
Okay, can you go down there and see what angel was?
19.
Mm-hmm.
And the angel answering said unto him, I am Gabriel.
I'm Gabriel. He's a messenger.
That stand in the presence of Yahweh,
Mm-hmm.
and am sent to speak unto thee and to show thee these glad tidings.
Okay. So now there's an angel. Michael was called. Gabriel. This is Gabriel. See? And we got angels appear. We got angels appear to Abraham. Angels appear to men all the way down through the scriptures. Angels appear. If you read over in Isaiah 6 and 1, you read about angels he saw. You see about Isaiah the prophet. And I'm just trying to just show you that the angels, they are real. And what we're talking about, angels are coming from an invisible appearance to where they take ownership of the form of human existence. Now, the founder of this school, Dr. Kilner, you see him walking down the street. Sometimes you see him walking down the street, and you say, "What's wrong with him?" What's he says, "Angels dispatched by him," but he could see them. Now we couldn't see. I mean, we walk around and we see. We would probably walk right into them, walk right on down. We don't think about it. But they are able to be seen, and God allows men to see angels to show that realm does exist, to let you know that spiritual realm does exist. So now we're talking about coming in an angel. He made all the angels. See? And then from that, he then goes about, as he made the angels, they run their course. When I say run their course, is that you have a series of events happen. He made all the angels. What were the angels supposed to do?
Praise, honor.
They were supposed to praise you, glorify. But now, one of the angels he made, a very beautiful angel. And he got lifted up and said, I'm beautiful than that one, and that one, and that one, and also, see, look at me, I'm the greatest. See, you know how that works when people get in a position or something. You just give a person a position, my position. Oh man, he just starts to puff up. I'm better than you. The same man, there's no difference. Let's give him a different position, and he's puffed himself up. See? So here he is up there, and he's getting the angels to follow him. And at a point in time, Joshua appears, or makes himself appear. And remember, we're talking about the incorporeal realm. Joshua is in incorporeal form. The angels are incorporeal. Okay? But Joshua is greater, brighter than the rest of them. So when he appears, now the angels got a problem. They've been looking at this one and talking about I'm the greatest and all this type of thing. And here's this other. Give me back the same thing. We have to choose you this day. So there became a war in heaven. When I first heard it, when I came to this family, I first heard about that. So what's all this fuss about going to heaven? They got a war in heaven. Why do I want to go to heaven for? But they forgot one of the words said. There was a war in heaven. Past it. So they gave it a little bit more maybe more interest. You used to come back down to cast for here's what else is being seen. So now we find out now that war in heaven caused those angels that lifted themselves up and fallen Lucifer were cast out of heaven into the earth. Well, first cast out of heaven into darkness. See? Then at a point in time, Yahweh and we're about to make a physical creation. This physical creation, now what we got now? We're going from pure spirit to incorporeal. And what's happening now? What's our substance?
Spirit.
What's spirit made of? Attributes. Now these attributes got to undergo a change. I mean, this thing I'm going to talk about now might be new to your ears. See? But divine attributes becomes molecules of atoms, or atoms, let's say atoms first, then molecules. You understand what I'm saying now? I'm saying divine attributes. Wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. See? Wisdom, knowledge, love, justice, truth. Those divine attributes take on or come into a condensed form as you and I know as matter.
Right.
Or spirit materialized. So now that means then you are made up of nothing but divine attributes. This might be some things we have to think about a little bit longer than we have in the past. But I'm trying to break this down so you can see that what we are the substance in concrete manifestation, in a physical form. We're coming forth from spirit that we can't see, and yet we abide in it. Okay? So now you can see, now here we are. We're coming down through that veil, from invisibility, coming on down. That's the division between spirit and matter. So we're coming from that spirit realm into matter. See? Dividing the first and the second veil. So we're coming on that. Now in that we're making up atoms, we're making up, let me see before we get to atoms. You got neutrinos, positrons, protons, neutrons, spectrum. That's what's making up the atom now. We're talking about the makeup of the atom. See? Now, as they begin to amalgamate, begin to collect and gather together, then they come into what you and I know as atoms. Then atoms, they form what we call molecules. Molecules form what you and I call plants, rocks, mankind, animals, all that's made up. So now that means that you are then the offspring of Yahweh. You are no longer matter materialized.
Spirit.
That means spirit materialized. Spirit materialized, thank you. You're no more than spirit materialized. Okay? Now then, it's just another thing to keep in mind. That means that you are not separate from Yahweh. You have a connection, whether you want to believe it or not, you have a connection with Yahweh. See? So there we are. So now we come on down and then we make what we call the inorganic earth. See? Now we have the earth. That means now the earth first, but without shape and form, it took on shape and form.
Right.
Now you and I, we think about, we've been out on this earth all the time. We've been around on this earth. We think it's real stable and it's real good and all this type of thing. So you go to California and also the earth really, you start tossing around. We walk around, all of a sudden stuff moving around. I've been out there some of the earthquakes. And it doesn't make you feel so comfortable about this earth being as stable as you thought it was. But then you think about it another time. Here you are out in space. You got there, a little ball out in space. Little ball out in space. And it was not with the mercy, the control of these atoms and the planets and stars by Yahweh. See, and the good thing is that's in His hands. You think about it in our hands. We have a collide and every now and then, bubble, all over the place, that type of thing. See, it's just like your own body. You've got involuntary system and a voluntary system. See? And Yahweh says, your responsibility is to keep your heart beating. See, you're good. And if women go by, you dead. Same vice versa with women, though. See? The point of the fact is, I'm trying to show you that Yahweh's in control. And thanks be to Yahweh, He kept some things unto Himself. And some things He gave unto us, we don't do too good a job about it. So we eat and eat and eat and eat and eat and eat. Sometimes I say, we haven't been to bed in a couple of days. We have a problem. The problem is, Yahweh set things up in a uniform way. And we validate most of them a lot of times. And that's what causes the problems we have. I'm not going to go into that, that's another thing. I'm back in here. But the point is, I'm trying to show you how Yahweh sets these things up. So now we deal with the back, deal with that. See, now we're going to look at, we got Yahweh created this creation. Now you notice when Moses wrote there in Genesis, he describes darkness covering the face of the deep. Thick darkness covering the face of the deep. Now consider that consider that the angels was cast in darkness. Yahweh was creating the physical creation. That means that these satanic angels, they don't know what's happening with this creation. They don't know what's coming about. But Yahweh's creating a physical creation. Then when He gets the physical creation finished, then He casts those satanic angels into everything. Now they're down here trying to figure out how old the earth is and how it works, how it operates, and all this type of thing. They were created in darkness. They didn't see how, they didn't understand what it was. You and I, we're able now to look at the things, and Yahweh put in there to give evidence to prove how He does exist. See? Okay? Are you with me now? So now here we are. I know I'm not going fast, but just bear with me. See? So now we're talking about this here coming from chaos. We're coming from this chaos state back in darkness. He makes the earth, has it inundated with water, see? Covered with blackness, darkness. See? Now Moses in that state, he does not understand, he don't know what's going on. And look, let me say this to him. When Yahweh Elohim made the creation, he didn't say, well, let there be a earth. And finally earth comes together. Let there be some water. Let there be some... He didn't go down to that things like that. He just says, let there be the universe, and there it was. Now, that's powerful, folks. He spoke, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. Psalms 33 and 69. See, now that's how fast it came in. So when Yahweh invites Moses up to see this in a vision, see, now if you had seen, Yahweh said, let there be in the whole universe, there's a, well, what came first? You don't have no idea, you have no way of understanding nothing about it. All you only say he done it was there. So what he does, he slows it down. And he slows it down in such a way because he's going to use it as a timekeeper. He's going to use it as a way for mankind to be able to understand him about it. So he's taking something he spoke, he said, let it be. So now here's the first day. Learn about what it has to do with the first day and the second day. So now we got this here earth land, the spirit. We're coming on down. Now we got this earth plane, we got water, and this is chaotic earth. Now this is where Moses describes the beginning of the first day. He says, in that darkness, he says, let there be light. And as soon as he heard that, said, let there be light, he saw light. Let there be light. And then that light dispelled the darkness. So now you got a light divided from darkness with a twilight in between. So you know right at nighttime, about 6 o'clock in the afternoon, and all of a sudden you walk out there, and boom, you're in darkness. It's a gradual thing. From light to darkness, a gradual process. So that in between, there's a transition period between the light of darkness and darkness. There's a twilight in the morning, twilight in the evening. See? So they have that cycle. See? So now we got that. Division between evening and morning. Yahweh called the light day. The darkness he called night. See? Now let me say this to you too. In Yahweh's eyesight, when he saw darkness, when he saw darkness, he called it night. When he saw light, he called it day. With him, you know what day you're in. You know with me? I said, if Yahweh called the light day, and the darkness he called night, see, how many times have you seen light and darkness go in one day? Clouds come in and be dark and be light again at night. See, he called them light days. He's calling light days, and darkness is called night. See? So what day are you in? Just think about it. Yeah.
So that's how you get the phenomenal day with the Messiah in the grave.
Right.
The 3 days and 3 nights.
Right, that's right. Because with him, he's calling light day, darkness is called night. So with him, that's with him. But with us, and we're waiting for, this is all one day, this is all one day. We didn't think about darkness coming. It's still the same day for you, we're concerned. But with him, he's calling. See, these are mysteries. Y'all be getting into himself. See? So here we have Yahweh, see, dividing the light from the darkness on the first day of Moses' vision. See? Then on the second day, see, now you got the waters cover the face deep, but now he's dividing them from the waters above and the waters beneath. See? Back in 1960, early 60s, I don't know, they started sending men out in outer space. See? When he got out of the Earth's atmosphere, went on up in the air. See? I already know about it in 57, a little later. See, I think, I'm not sure. But anyhow, the point is that when they got out of the outer atmosphere, they recognized a whole bunch of more water out there, molecules of water out in the heaven. Tons of water out there. See? And all he always had to say, let it come down. Boy, you talk about a flood. Boy, he did it much before. So the point is, he can do it. Water's out there. He said, you're not privy to it until you release it or cause it to come to pass. So here we have now, see, we went from the first day, light from darkness, the second day, now we're talking about the firmament above and the firmament beneath. The firmaments are called heaven. So now we go outside, we look in the sky, we call it heaven, the heaven. That's one heaven. See? Then you're going out beyond that, you got another heaven. See? Then the whole, all of that's couched within Yahweh. And as your understanding increase in understanding, then you're in the third heaven. See? Third heaven. That's what Paul says, come to the third heaven. When these mysteries are made known to you, you're in the third heaven. Mm-hmm. You're caught up in the third heaven. See? And somebody said, well, see, now you all, that all let you know you're privy to things that Yahweh allows you to see when He allows you to see. Things that mankind don't know about to this day. See? So here we are. See, that's the second important. Then you got to see, because of the firmaments called heaven, the waters above the firmaments. Division between the waters beneath, see, the waters above we got there. See? And then we got the Spirit of Yahweh. Now see, Yahweh, the Spirit of Yahweh, is supposed to on earth and all the way down. Moses described the Spirit of Yahweh moved on the face of the beginning of the vision. See? Now you're going to see how these bottom face down here, you're going to see that Yahweh put the earth plane there. And He put within it a burning inferno inside the heart of the earth. And then you got the earth, and then you got water above the earth. Then you go into the heaven above. So now you got that blood, the fire and the sun and the earth, that's like in the altar for the sacrifice. See, the altar. See, then you got the water that's covering the earth plane. There's your labor. See, and then you got the Spirit of Yahweh moving upon the face of the deep. See, that's all going to process. Moses seen that. See, darkness covered up the first day. The second day, you see the waters divided from the waters beneath. And then the third day. This I think was beautiful when I first heard this. The third day, describing the first book of your Bible, Genesis. Here we have Yahweh causing the waters to roll off the face of the deep, and the dry land appear. That's a resurrection of the earth. And then within it, you got the seed of vegetation. When that Spirit of Yahweh moved on the face, it was impregnating Mother Earth. See, then on the third day, that seed of vegetation started coming up. So after the water rolled off the face up, the seed of vegetation come up. See, and it grows in the area, vegetation is risen or come up. Then it goes on into fruition. See? Now we got on this here chart. Now, it may not be and look, folks, these drawings were not done by professionals. See? But now he's got on this veil, he's got flowers. See? On the veil. See? Now let's liken it to the angels that you have on the veil here in the holy place of most of the angels. Flowers. See? And you all know, if you see a flower come up out of the ground, you see outside of it, the bottom bud comes out. It don't look that good. It looks pretty to a certain extent. But when the light rays of the sun come out and it opens up, you really see the beauty inside and all that so beautiful. See, it's a testimony. God was demonstrating love and demonstrating beauty. See? And look, this plant, that you might have planted the seed and watch it come up. See? You didn't do a thing but gave it water. The sun came out and gave it, heated it up, warmed it up. Then it goes on up. And this flower opens up. You go there. Get it over water. That's all the water tonight. See? Beautiful. See? Now, man guy coming along. He goes down, he's sweating all this kind of thing. Unless he puts something on, he got something that really bothers him. But you can see, you understand, I'm trying to show you that Yahweh demonstrated in everything. Here you have these flowers that grow up. And there are all kinds of them. I love the white looking flowers. All the mathematics, and you got colors and shades, and then mankind hasn't been able to duplicate. See, but the Yahweh good at it, see. And, see, they got this, the flowers there. So now this is testifying, this is witnessing to why the Messiah, when he comes along, he says, see, as it was the day that Jonah was revealed in the Son, the Son of Man. As it was in the days of Jonah, so shall be.
Noah.
Noah. Jonah, that's it.
He said Jonah.
As it was
The days of Noah.
in the days of Jonah.
Noah.
Whereas Jonah was in the belly of the earth.
Let's get it.
You're singing an Alan prayer.
Huh?
Whereas Jonah was in the belly
Oh,
of the
Jonah was in the belly of the earth, in the belly of the fish. So shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth. Am I disconnected?
Everybody was in a different channel.
No silence.
Okay. The point I'm trying to get at is this. I'm trying to show you when the Messiah said Matthew 11:40, he's talking about it. They wanted a sign. This is the sign you should see.
Okay, that's clear.
I haven't talked about Adam yet. Or Noah. I ain't got him yet. I'm just all the way down. On that, until we don't even have a plate on here dealing with Jonah. See, that's a problem. See? But the point I'm trying to get at is that he's given the sample. He said that as it was in the days of Jonah, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of 3 days and 3 nights. That's Matthew 12:40. See, now he's giving it as a sign. But now he said, I've come in the earthling to fulfill what the prophets, that was in your scripture lesson. Things are going to happen to him on the cross. Let's go to Jerusalem. He was what the prophet said was going to happen to him. So now I'm trying to show you now that what we're talking about is, as Jonah was in the heart of the fish for 3 days, he says, so shall the Son of Man be in the heart of the earth for 3 days. See, then you go back here, you see here's the earth. Inundated the first day, the second day, the third day. You had a resurrection on the third day. Then you had the seed. In Joshua, he was the seed of Abraham. So he's resurrection. Remember the waters back here in Moses' vision rolled off the face of the earth. Remember the Messiah, the stone that was covered in the tomb rolled away. See, on the third day. And then the resurrection, then he resurrected just like the vegetation resurrected on the third day. See, this is it. I'm talking about this point all the way down. Here in the 9th verse of the first chapter, you've got a prophecy being fulfilled in type. It's not talking about a physical man raised from dead, but it's a figure. It's a type pointing out to the Messiah. Now we come on down. That's the third day. See? The fourth day. Yahweh said, let there be a light in the sun to rule the day. And a lesser light to rule the night. See? And you think about it, folks. Just recently, we had a picture where the earth was between the sun and the moon. Eclipse. And just a couple of days after that, you can look up in the sky and you see the moon and see the sun. Yeah. Same time. The moon and the sun. But the sun was so much brighter than the moon. And when the sun set, the moon came out and showed us bright. And look, folks, moonlight's pretty bright. You see pretty well in moonlight. We don't have the moonlight, it's really dark. You all probably know it's different. You know, we see moonlight, there's a lot more light. See? But you can see, but I'm just trying to show you now, he's made the light to rule the sun in the heavens to be a greater light, and the moon to be a lesser light. Then he made the planets and the stars in the heaven. But he made them for signs and seasons. Okay? So the rotation, and it said that Yahweh made between the earth plane and the sun, moon, and stars, they were set up in an order that pleases the Father to regulate day and time, seasons of the year. So we're able to see on this here fourth day that Yahweh put it up. Now, the moon will represent, the moon is a lesser light. It's likened to the candlestick in the holy place in the tabernacle. The moon goes through what? 7 phases. Got 7 branch lampstands.
That's right.
See, this is some of this before. Now that high priest, when he goes in there, he's lighting that first one, he's lighting the second one, third, fourth, going through this like just like a moon goes through those phases. One at a time. See, and you see it going through. So you see that the moon is the lesser light. See? Then you get the sun comes out in the splendor of his glory. And it's warmer. See? And all. See? But now it's the operation of this that brings about the seasons of the year. Here we are, a ball floating around in the sky, going around the sun. It takes us, see, 365 and a quarter days to go around the sun. See? And think about it. You're moving. You are moving. Better than 1,000 miles an hour. It's like, boom. But we're so far out in space to really reckon to think about all this what goes on. You're moving on an axis. See? With the earth rotating. Sun, and that's why sometimes we see the sun in darkness, we rotate. But we're going around the sun at the same time. Think about all this being illustrated by Yahweh. See? And this is just one solar system. Got lots of them out there, solar system out there. And you got them all under control. Now you think that he can't control you, you got a big problem. And the reason why I tell you, this gospel will control you. Joshua did not die in vain.
Right.
If you believe in him, he has the power to deliver you from every situation. And you can become a son of Yahweh. See? So we are seeing that. So now he divides on this and he set the sun into rule the seasons of the year. What happens in the fall of the year? The leaves fall off the tree. See? The weather becomes cool. What?
Wheelbarrows.
The leaves fall off the tree. The trees become naked. See? Then following and to me it always amazes me. Yahweh always has a way to do the whole job. See? The leaves get on the tree and they start turning. Why do they start turning?
Gold and red.
Huh?
The colors?
Yeah.
Gold and red.
Why do they change
Fire.
first?
Like,
Because of less light. As the days get shorter, the trees don't have enough light to keep it growing and keep it in green leaves. So as the sun starts getting shorter, the daylight gets shorter, the trees don't get enough light. So therefore the leaves start dropping. See? Now here, we're talking about the fourth day. See? Here we are, fourth day. Fall. Then following fall comes winter. Winter comes, we got rain, we got snow, whether you like it, and it becomes cool. So here we got fall. Winter. Then, and look, you always said this is about 3 months even for each one of these there, 3 months. You got to transition from one to the other, always up to that. See? And you know, when it gets winter time, you have to say, oh, I got to wear a coat all the time, you got to be out in the weather and all. And hate that, you know. See, now you have a cold day, it might be okay. Well, then the opposite grows a little bit. Let the wind come up. It's even colder. See? But here we got, this is Yahweh 6:7. Fall, winter, death, winter, burial. As you see, see the death on the altar sacrifice, the animal being offered up. See, winter, buried, labor. See? Then it comes to summer, or I should say spring first. Spring comes forth. Now you're coming out of that winter. And the days are getting longer, and the rays of the sun come out, and they start melting the snow, and the rain, and what happens to the rain starts evaporating. See? You might see it come down. I'm talking about the snow and the rain come down. But you don't see it going back up. But it does evaporate and go back up. Invisible operation. Then you find yourself in a state of death. But to be resurrected is an operation that's only known by God. in the invisible operation. No, you come to an understanding of Yahweh's purpose and plan. So we had the death, the burial, springtime, resurrection. Oh, everybody loves to come out of the spring, out of the wintertime and the springtime. See? They start taking off clothes and see. Then you're out there in the springtime, the grass starts coming up, the vegetation comes up. Then you go up through after that you come into the summer. And when the summer comes up to fruition, then you're going to get the apple off the tree, and the fruit off the tree. See? Resurrection, or fruition. See? Death, burial, resurrection, and ascension. See? Death, burial, resurrection. Now you have here in this year chapter, in this year page, now you got the stars and the planets out there. Stars represent the angels. You know that you have stars out there and you represent angels. A star goes shooting down. You see a falling star.
Yeah.
That gives you confidence that you know that Satan was cast out of heaven. Mm-hmm. Star falling, because stars like the angels. You see that happen. Then you got to put planets out there in the atmosphere. So now you got one out there called Saturn. Mm-hmm. See? Saturn. Beautiful planet. In the telescope, beautiful planet. They got these nice big rings that go around. See? Now it's likened, now you can find it's the sixth planet from the sun. See? And it's likened unto Satan. See? Now Satan's always job is hedging or surrounding his people so they won't see or get into something else. You find in most churches they say don't go to another church. You found the church, stay here. But you might get someone to go to another church and you might be taken away from the church. They don't want that to happen. The pockets come a little less. Don't have no more money in it. So it was hard for you to stay in the city. But now, this is one thing when I first came to class, just out of high school, at least I could recognize this. The founders taught this. Said, try to give the truth to you. I don't have to worry about you going to place else. If you understand what's being taught, you go anywhere you want to.
Right.
Because the truth will stand because of whatever is being presented. So therefore, you see how beautiful that is. See? So he wouldn't run like that. He was trying to get us to go back to the church and get some people out of the church. We didn't want to go do that.
Right.
See? But he wanted us to do that to be able to witness. And then on top of it, he didn't do it. He stopped on that. He said, well, since you won't go out and get them, I'll bring the ministers in there and talk to you.
Right.
So he still got it.
That's right.
So they come down, and what they do, they come down there. This, I put the way they think. They come down and say, 300, 400 people. That brings me $1 from everybody. That's $300, man. So let's start doing it that way. See? And then you'll find that we don't give the ministers. Take up collection from the ministers. So they stop coming to class. Because they got two of it. That's where they made their money. See? And not tell you the truth on top of that. So here we are, fourth day. So now we got here on the fourth day, we got this here, the Yahweh is dividing the fall, we got the division between fall and winter and spring, we got the division between spring and summer. See, all this represents, when we say division between the dividing from, that's why I got these veils in this tabernacle, to show the division between one, the outer court and the holy place and most of it. There's a division for it. So that made me understand. When I read Genesis, you read Genesis, the first chapter, and read about these divisions, we didn't know what they had to do with anything. But once you tied in with that pattern, you had veils that to represent. You see, there had to be a line of demarcation between one state and another. Right. And therefore, he gave you some stability. You know, Yahweh's not doing this thing helter skelter. He's going by a definite pattern. So we got a pulse on what Yahweh's doing. He's repeating over and over again. See? Now, on the fifth day, see, we have here on the fifth day, Yahweh makes what? The birds and the fish. And the intermediate state, they have their corners, go in the water, then they can go in, the fry go down the water, and the fish can fly. He's making all that on the first day. Now, bear in mind, now I want you to understand this. Moses saw, in his vision, he saw the creation of all the animals. he did not go on to describe any particular animals. But you read there, I think it's in the 13, 14 verse there, he talks about the sea monsters. I think we almost in there. You can make that up in your mind, whatever. They still pour fish out of the sea that they haven't seen before. See? Sea monsters. So all things are coming. In other words, Moses, you had nothing predating Moses. As they talk to you about prehistoric animals. Dinosaurs and all that. Yahweh, Moses, I've seen all that. See? But what Yahweh had done in time, he had gotten rid of it. Got rid of it. By flood, by he was destroyed. Remember, he has the power over life and death. So he destroyed the entire world. So here we got there, we got the fish, bound, death, birth, bound. Then we got that intermediate state, where they could migrate from the water into the air and go down, and birds would go into the ocean. See, you know, the different animals. You don't think about much to see these animal shows, see these type of things. You got a bird there, then they also go down the water, 4 or 5 feet down the water, get a fish and come up out of the water. See, and you talk about having keen eyes. You can put stuff right in where the fish at, you come up out of the fish, and I mean, where did you see that one at? See? But we see that then Yahweh now, let me put this out too. In each one of these kingdoms, animal kingdoms, there's a king and there's a queen in each one. He's made them all to have that because they're pointed to, again, Joshua and his wife. See? You got a bird kingdom. See? You got an eagle. See? Flies in heaven. He's flying on up above. Storm comes, he goes up above the storm and flies. To get away from the storm. Eyes, keen eyes. See? Look down, you know what? The fish be going down, you don't know anything about it. You're going to pick him up. See? Look at Yahweh's creation. See, I got the birds. See, on this bill we got birds on it, all kinds of other birds. Now notice, I'll try to read it right now then. You don't see a bird, a blue bird, go flying in a tree. And a black bird comes in there, and the blue bird, get out of here, this is my tree. You have the birds, be distributed between other birds. You might find birds here, they have all kinds of birds. That time already, cheapers. See? The point I'm just trying to get is that you can see that you always got all these different colored birds in there. See? And they also go with each of the birds of the angel of the veil, and the veil is the division between the bird kingdom and the fish kingdom. See, there they are. You got birds in the firmament, division between inanimate and animate. Inanimate and animate. Biological animation, biological animation.
Biological animation.
And then you got biological formation. Now, Yahweh is for all. Now, if you know, you don't have a bird flying on out in outer space. You're gone. They die, go back to Earth. So where did the bird come from? Earth. From the earth. Where did the cow come from? Earth. Everything came from the earth. See? God, Yahweh, I'm trying to show you that Yahweh, now he's the source. And there's something. You take something natural to understand something spiritual. So if you see the man is coming forth, see, we said, when man came from a man in the womb, from a mother and father. Really? When he died, he don't go back to mother and father. I mean, they might come home here, but when he died, he go back to the ground. Well, because we got the book here, the man came from this. So on the 6th day is where Yahweh makes the man. He made this man the prime of his creation. Brought the man forth, no, outside the garden. Then he made a garden of Eden, and then he placed the man in the garden. See? He put this man in the garden to rule the garden, or to take care of the garden. See? Gave him a job and no work. He didn't have to do a thing up there. Everything was in fruition. He didn't see a leaf off a tree or an apple off a tree, nothing there. All he had to go out and just eat. See, the fruit of the tree. Which is synonymous with us eating of the fruit of the Spirit. See? So we can able to appreciate that. So now we're seeing that he made this man. See, breathing his nostrils, and he became a living soul. So now we have here division between soul and spirit. So there's a division between spirit and soul. Every man has a soul. Every man has a spirit. See? And then we got the body. The spirit and soul is a house in the body. See? Now that's what makes up a man. Therefore the man, he's got a spirit, soul, and body, because the tabernacle has a motivation, go around about. Threefold man. And then you have that spirit function. And that man's soul. The soul part of the man is the man's intellect. His ability to reason. The ability to be able to reject and accept things. That be of Yahweh. So the point I'm just trying to make, now we only got to the 6th day. But we ask and hope that you come back and stay with us. Learn all you can for the time we got left. I put it this way, you're one day closer than you were the day before. Our goal now is to be ready. Come to Christmas all you can that you might be able to stand in the last days.
When are you going to continue next Sunday?
Okay, you can continue next Sunday. I just went through it and everybody else can read it for a while. Anybody want to talk about it again? Do that way. Okay? So now we're gathered. We thank our guests for coming and study with us. Hope it's been helpful. And then all of those that have come out, hope some things have been said have been beneficial that you might be able to go away a little bit better rewarded for coming today. Hope the preacher got some of what he said.
Last week we read Mark, the 10th chapter, and the 31st verse says the last shall be first and the first shall be last. Does that is that saying about Yahweh is the first, or Yahweh Elohim is the first, and he also is going to be the last?
I think he's talking about he's talking to this. Was somebody disciples that night? Yeah, I like it. Go back and get it, man. Mark 11 was it? 10 and 31.
Mark 10 and 31. But many that are first shall be last,
Oh, many.
and the last first.
Telling his disciples.
He's talking to his disciples there. Because I think before, above that's when
He's telling them don't fear him.
We had 24, and the disciples were astonished at his words.
yeah. I get this story in my mind. But the thing was he's talking about his disciples. And I think we have a bit of a book there right down around there talking about when John Jefferson,
Well, he's telling his disciples not to fear them that can kill the body. And then he goes on to the very hairs of your head are numbered. Fear not ye therefore, ye are more valuable than the sparrows. Whoever therefore shall confess me before men, Him will I confess also before my Father which is in, I'm in the wrong chapter.
Uh-huh.
I'm in Matthew. Okay, okay. I guess you guys got to obey me.
Okay, I'm just trying to find out. I thought it was something about John's, James and John's mother bringing him to the Messiah, talking about who's going to be
Yeah,
first.
that's in Matthew.
That's in Matthew, okay.
This is it, he's talking about it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle
Yeah, okay.
than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Yahweh.
I remember the first time I heard that you talking about the rich man going, it's easier for a rich man.
It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of Yahweh.
I remember when I first heard it, I was about 7, 8 years old in an Episcopal church. And I couldn't figure out how that was going to happen. I seen a camel, and I seen an eye of a needle, and I said, wait a minute. The rich man can't get in heaven because I think it's easier for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to go through the eye of a needle. I said, well, how's it going to happen? But when I came down to class, Dr. Henry explained about it. What he's talking about, when you pack a camel, and you got a pack on it, and you look at the ports of the cities going into Jerusalem, they got these archways they have in there. And the camel is packed just enough to barely go through the archway into the city. That's called the eye of the needle, the archway of the door.
Right.
That's called the eye of the needle. So when a camel's going through, it barely gets through there. And sometimes they have to, if they pack too much, they have to take some stuff off of it to allow them to get through it. So that's why that meant, and I understood, I said, wow, that's a big difference, but still it was an eye-opener to understand what the parable was used and what it meant. So, yes. But, yes.
Can I make a comment? On what Tony is asking about this time in Mark 10, it's where the disciple, well, Peter, he began, he asked the Messiah, said to the Messiah, then Peter began to say to him, lo, we have left all and followed thee. And Yahshua answered and said, verily I say unto you, there is no man that hath left house, or brethren, or sister, or father, or mother, or children, or land, for my sake, and the gospel, but he shall receive a hundredfold. He's telling them that. And then he goes on to say, because many that are first shall be last, and last first. And so when you look out here and you see the ones who are living the life, we'll say, from a physical standpoint, it looks like they're first. But in the end, they're going to be last. And the ones who look like they're downtrodden and down and out, they'll be first. In essence, is what he's saying.
Okay. And the second one's on the plate number 4 there. You have the angelic right there. Is that just showing that the angelic was created after Yahweh Elohim takes on shape and form? He creates the angelic.
Oh yeah, this is just a condensed form coming from pure spirit into materialization.
I don't think that's the angelic, is it?
It's angel on the bill. It's angel on the bill. He's displaying everything on that one plate because he's going from pure spirit into matter. So before he gets to matter, you got the angelic. Before you get to the metal. So this is still all creation in his whole phase. Now, let me go on and say this too. My wife brought this to my attention. Somebody forgot to throw in this here explanation of this chart. In the tabernacle, well, let me use everybody can see this right here. In the tabernacle pattern, you have what do you have in the holy place of this tabernacle?
Well, you got 3 vessels in it.
Light.
You got light, you got the table, shewbread, you got an altar of incense. Is there anything? What principles do you drive? What principles do you extract from there?
Illumination, life, intercession, and sustenance.
Okay. What else? They said illumination, substance, or fruit of bread, and then they said intercession. What else?
Light.
The garments of beauty and glory are in there.
Wondering.
You have wondering. You have a cycle that has to be displayed. You have a movement from one candlestick to the other candlestick, to the table sugar, or the movement, a circulation, all right. In the migration, you have the children that come about, and the reason they migrated, they wandered in the borders. So you got to have that third in there. Now, I bring that up because I didn't bring it up down here. When you talk about this here places, Tony asked about it. I bring it in, it's a good time to bring it in. Now, you don't have in every plate enough to carry out that there is a definite pattern evoked. There's a definite pattern to go by. So what we're saying here, now we're talking about pure spirit. Now, that's I tried to express something. Maybe you all followed, maybe you didn't. But we're talking about pure spirit. And if we have pure spirit being defined as the divine attributes, without shape or form, then when Yahweh starts to move from this invisible state, this inscrutable state, the incomprehensible state, when he moves from that state into a shape and form, see, now we've got these divine attributes lining up and taking on shape and form. But now when we go from that, now this is incorporeal form, super incorporeal form. Then the angels, which it makes next to the angels, they're incorporeal. Now you're starting to come down to this veil into matter. That's why you got a division between spirit and matter. So there's a line of demarcation between spirit and matter. So then if you look at that, you got spirit. You come through the veil, you're going to have to come through a transition into what we call or look at as being the particles of I'll say atoms. On the chart, he's got ions, atoms, electron, proton, and neutron. Ions, which are particles of matter that's charged. When you get down in the proton, neutron, and electron, they make up the atom. So they're much more smaller particles. There's other particles of the atom that you don't hear a lot about. Neutrinos, positrons, those are other particles of the atoms. There's about 8 or 9 other particles that there are of the atoms that make up the atom. But now, if that's what you're able to find, understanding this now, I'm trying to cover everything. No one has ever seen an atom. They've only been able to trace the particles of the atom as they go across what they call a cloud chamber. In a cloud chamber is a chamber where they have very compressed air, They shoot an atom into this here environment. They have magnets, a positive on one side, a negative on the other side, a magnet. And as these particles go through this here cloud chamber, one goes off to the positive, one goes off to the negative. Well, a positive particle going to the negative, that's a positive particle. If it goes off to the negative.
If a particle go off on the negative side, that's positive?
Right.
It's attracting.
Because it's distracting.
Magnetic.
You're going from the magnetic poles.
Opposites attract.
Opposites attract.
Okay.
So it got a negative pole on this side, a positive pole on this side. Anything that's going to my positive is going to be negative. Anything that's going to go to my negative is going to be, anything that goes to the positive is going to be negative. And that's what they're able to trace when they see that go through this here cloud chamber. That's how they're able to define what's a proton, what's a neutron. And then one that goes straight through will be a neutron. That's just a brief thing.
Oh, because
And then try to get it on this.
and it can go.
Right, it won't have any charge, so it's going to go straight through the valve.
Okay.
So now what we're talking about, these here particles that I just got to talk about, protons, neutrons, electrons. See, that's no more than spirit or these divine attributes coming through a veil, becoming matter. So then we talk about divine attributes becoming matter. Now somebody said, well, wait a minute. I don't know about that. Because we're talking about wisdom and knowledge and these type of terms for being spirit becoming matter. Now, when you see these, I say atoms, I use atoms, certain ones put together can appear to be very beautiful. Some are react in different ways. You can express or you can see the attributes of love or the attributes of wisdom. Now, I'm talking about the way these atoms are portrayed. Just like when you talk about splitting atoms. Now, there can be a lot of power generated. That's talking about power. But also at the same time, when it creates that power is generated, it can be very devastating. But at the same time, if you can harness that power and control it, it becomes very helpful for everybody. So you see power, you see wisdom, you see all those things, actually those attributes. But I said, well, that's still kind of hard. Because they're still, we're going about something that's abstract, taking on materialization. Well, me using words to convey to you a thought, you don't see the word leaving my mouth coming out to your ear. But when I say certain things, as soon as I say certain things, you have a picture in your mind. If I say tree, somebody got a tree in their mind. I don't know what kind of tree it might be, but there's trees in your mind. Because I protected the word tree. So an abstract has taken on shape and form in your understanding, in your mind. There's just nothing but a small, or just a little type of showing a new term about something that's abstract becoming materialized. That's why I talk about divine attributes going through a veil, becoming matter, material, things that you and I can comprehend. Now, if that's true coming down, it's going to have to go the same way going back up. I hope I didn't say that and made it confusing, but if you did, have any questions, talk to me here. I'll try to make it even simpler if I can. These are trying to find words to express things and make it clear for everybody to understand. Because I realize we got a congregation here where we got people with all different levels of understanding, all different levels of education, all different levels of personality and all. But trying to find the words that would be, you might say, low enough and clear enough for even the base person to understand is what my goal is trying to say that. Try to say things about this chart. So now we're coming all the way down into matter, into the physical, the inorganic earth at this time here. So now we're talking about spirit going through a veil, which is going to be the angelic, going through another veil, coming on down into the concrete, or the first you know this being natural. Does that help you out any?
Yeah, it does, and I think one of the things you expressed that spirit materialized, and that spirit materialized, and I think you said something about that's why we have a connection
With Yahweh.
with Yahweh, and that's why
We always definitely have it. This is one thing we should become most conscious about it at all, compared to what we have out what's being taught in the world, collectively. I mean, we all should see that we have this definite link to Yahweh. I mean, you can't say you're separate from Him. Because we have, in our mind, we had Him up above somewhere. So He's up there, we're down here, we do our own thing.
Yeah.
But to come to understand that actually you're a part of Him, He's a part of you, that brings Him much more closer to you, and you should then take heed of how you not only act, but the way you should receive things and stuff like this as well. So that's an important thing about that. Okay, now, we've gone down through the first 5 days, and we're down into the 6th now. The other thing I did see in this page here too was coming down from this here invisible state into a concrete state. There's a circulation or a
Intermediate state.
Intermediate, yeah.
Intermediate state. Well, I'm trying to get now to the word that Dr. Kennedy used one time, we used several times, was a centrifugal force. Centrifugal force. Now you know what centrifugal force is. If you have something on the end of a rod or a string and you swing it around, that is a centrifugal force. It's out at the far end is much more fast than it is in the center. And a lot of things, Sandia Labs have developed machines to be able to test things. When you want to take something up in the air and drop it down and see what kind of damage you're going to do, and they develop a chamber that will allow it to do the same thing. They have a room there. They get this up to any speed they want to get it to, any height they want to get it to, and just let it go and they hit the wall. They get the same effect it would be if you drop something from the heavens. So they'd be able to analyze their processes. So, and when going through that process, centrifugal force, you also generate a lot of heat processes. So you can see it coming down. This coming down from pure spirit to materialization is a very powerful transition. So you can see it that a lot of power. And you think about all the things that mankind has done and all the things that people have gone through in life. I mean, I talk about struggle of life in general. And see a lot of the pearls they go through. But now you find that we're down here on this sixth day dealing with the man. And your Bible reads first that he created the beasts of the fields first. And we don't talk much about the beasts, and we don't talk much we don't talk much about the beasts. In the sense of this being that, where do they come from? They came from the dust earth too. And so the way you know that is that when they die, they go back to the dust earth too. The same way that happens with mankind happens with beasts. I think you go and read Ecclesiastes 1 and about 3 and 20. You read down here about the same thing happened with man, happened with beasts, and that's what you got going on now. So the beasts of the fields were created first, and this is about the sixth day. And then also on the sixth day you have God making the man. Now when he makes the man out of the dust of the earth, then he breathes on him the breath of life.
16 days.
Well, these are two basically the same thing.
Oh, okay.
This is the man being created first. You've got a 6 day, the man being, you got the beast of the field and the man being created. When he makes the man, breathes him forth, he breathes into his nostrils the breath of life, and he becomes a living soul. Now that makes the man then spirit, soul, and body. Now, is Yahweh, Elohim, breathing into the man, causing the man to live. And is witnessing down to when the Messiah comes in, when he raised from the dead, he breathed on his disciples, showing that there was some external breathing on the man. So you see, it's the Messiah was fulfilling when he took breathing on his disciples back there. See? Now this phase going upward, see? Then he took the man, see? Now you got here going back completely in the garden here. This is up here. Now you got here a division between the soul and the spirit. Now then you know that Yahweh can divide between the soul and the spirit. There is a division between the two. There's a division between the body and the soul. So you got a body, you got a soul, and you got a spirit, making up the man. Now that makes this man up. Now, that man was placed in the garden. We're talking about the same day now. You put the same man in a deep sleep. Went into the side, and we call it spiritual immersion. We immersed Adam there in that deep sleep that we were talking about Friday night. I used to talk to us Friday night. We put it in this deep sleep. Now, she brought up a good question. She brought up something that I thought about. Look at Genesis 1:27.
Genesis 1 and 27.
Mhm.
So Elohim created man in his image. In the image of Elohim created he him.
Mhm.
Male and female created he him.
Now we got this in the sixth. This is in the first chapter. Moses is writing about the man and the woman
Right.
being created. Right? Created him, right? Okay. Read on.
And Elohim blessed him, and Elohim said unto him, Be fruitful and multiply.
He said to who?
Unto him.
Unto him be fruitful and multiply. Read.
And replenish the earth, and subdue it.
Mm-hmm.
And rule over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the heavens, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth.
Mm-hmm. So now he's put the man in charge of everything. But now, I want you to see what Dr. Kidd has on this chart here. See? In this here, after he putting the man to sleep, and when he decided to take the woman out, it prefigured, or it showed that the woman was in the man. Which is why you have over there a revelation talking about the woman clothed in the sun. So that the woman was in the man to come out of the man. See now, the religious leaders they're trying to fathom out of this book, put all kinds of concepts and opinions out of this book, because they don't understand the visions that were shown to Moses. Now, here's what this is. Now understand this is what Moses is saying to the scribes and the Pharisees when he comes down from the mount the second time. What you're reading here in Genesis, the first chapter. Okay. Finish up the rest of it. Saying to the scribes and Pharisees. They're writing down what he said. Okay. Where you at now? Where you at reading that there?
29.
You got how many verses?
2 more.
Okay. Read on now.
And Yahweh said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, and the which is the fruit of tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
To you shall be for me. So now the man's up in the garden, fruits in the trees in fruition and everything. See? But there's also a woman there. The thing about it is you don't hear anything said. This is what Yahweh told the man, not the woman. But now the point is, you have no understanding about where the man came from or where the woman came from. Now this third trip that Yahweh takes Moses up in the mountain is when he gets the understanding, or he's been told, you didn't tell where the man came from.
Right.
So therefore he's got to write about it in the second chapter. So the second chapter is what was shown to Moses in his third trip to the top of the mount. Caused him to define where the man came from and also where the woman came from. Because that's missing there. He's also told about the earth man was not watered by rain. The mist came up and watered the earth. So you find that's what this second chapter, that's why they think, if you get a Schofield Bible, a lot of times they have in the first chapter, between the first chapter and the second chapter, they define that there's two different creations. One is the Babylonian creation, which is the second chapter. The first chapter is what they call the Jewish version of the creation. Trying to reconcile these, trying to make two different things. So when Israel was taken captive into Babylon, and they got this here second creation, they put it there in there, making it be the second creation. Babylonian account of the creation. But Dr. King said, no, it was not. It was as Yahweh was informing Moses to be more specific as to where the man came from. And also how the earth was being watered, how the vegetation, where the plant forth came from. Everything you read in that second chapter is what was informing mankind about his existence, how he came forth from, which was omitted in the first chapter. So you got to read understanding that there are two different trips that Moses makes in the mountain, but they talk about the same thing. The man is described coming from the dust of the earth. See? Then Yahweh takes him, places him in the garden. Then he goes on to describe about the man being put in a deep sleep, and the rib coming from, taken from him in the flesh to make a woman. And then the commandment going forth. I think the commandments, well, I can say that the commandment went forth before he did this. So the commandment went forth about not touching the tree, or eating the fruit of the tree. And then you have, you put it in the deep sea. We have a room taken making the woman. See? And then when you put up here in the garden, see, then I want you to talk about it. What's your question?
Just if he took the woman out of man in the garden, or?
Yes, in the garden. Now, this Adam and Eve has been created. Then you go up here and it says now, see Christ, which is in the